Blacking China, Season 2, sponsored by Hayden T. Joseph, Certified Public Accountant. Visit us at advancedamericantax.com.
We were laughing very hard. That means we were.
你们现在就在看黑人在中国。
黑人在中国。
黑人在中国。
黑人在中国。黑人在中国。
Hello, I'm Cordell I live in Chongqing, China. I'm from New York, and currently I work at Sichuan International Studies University as a lecturer of international relations and a researcher in Southwest China for the Silk Road Economic Belt.
My name is David. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm living in Dalian, China.
My name is Jalisa Harris. I currently live in Beijing, China. I am from Vero Beach, Florida, and I am currently working as a teacher as well as doing project management for an education company.
Jonathan Butler. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I'm a English teacher at Nature International School in Chengdu.
I'm KailaSmith. I'm originally from Toronto, Canada. I live in Harbin, China, and I'm an English teacher at Joy English School.
My name is Naomi Thompson. I'm from London, and I am an English teacher at Yalma.
Hello, I'm Sanethia. I live in Dalian, China. I work for Aston Educational Group as an English teacher.
My name is Talia. I am a teacher here, and I'm from New Jersey.
My name is Tyrell Smith. I'm from Bronx, New York, and I am a teacher here in Shenzhen.
Okay, my name is Zalina Smith. I work as a teacher in REA, and I live in Changsha.
Like when I first got there, you walk in the class and they do this. And I'm just like, hello! And then they just like, they fall in love pretty much. Like I don't blame them. But like, they do. But my students are cool. Like, I like the fact that I'm black and that they're gonna go into this world one day and not be like, hey Ren. You know? Like, that makes me so happy to know that they'll be okay. Like I feel like I'm making a difference in our lives.
It's just a very cushy, unrealistic life, I want to say. In a day, I may work 2 hours total, maybe. You know, go shopping like all day if I really feel like it because, you know, malls in America are accessible. But like, everything seems to be like accessible and it's just leisurely as opposed to in America. Most likely you're gonna be having like a 9 to 5, but here it's like pretty chill. You can have lunch in the middle of the day with your friends. You can go to Starbucks and just sit there for hours. You can have videos taken of you. You know, it's not real life.
I was an executive chef in America, and I enjoyed my job. Wanted to be the next top chef. But after working for about 6 years in this field, I felt I wanted to take a break because I felt that I was only working to pay the bills. I wasn't doing, it had changed from being my hobby to being just what I do to make money. So I decided to take a break, and I saw an ad online that said, come teach English in China, which I thought it was a joke, but I did it anyway. I said, well, I'll either have a 2-week vacation or maybe have a 1-year contract with this English school. So I came to teach.
When I first applied to teach English, it was the first place to reply to me. So it was the first school to reply to me. So I was like, I'm taking it. And here I am now in Harbin, China.
Okay.
I really don't know how I got here originally. It was just an opportunity that I took. I was chasing a few leads back home and doors weren't really, they were open but they were being closed at the same time. So the opportunity to come to China just literally appeared and I was like, well, I have nothing to lose, why not?
Well, I was a teacher over there in Florida, and I always taught ELL students, so I kind of fell in love with the whole program. and fell in love with how they were taught English and how they learned and how they heard English sounds. So from there, I started to look at programs that I could teach English abroad so that I could learn, you know, the reason why maybe they might say a different syllable or why they may not even say a letter sound. And I just kind of stumbled upon China. From there, started to study like TEFL, they call it Teaching English in Foreign Languages, which is just like Esau. He was speaking other languages. But stumbled upon that, got my certification, and then 2 months later I'm in China.
The first 4 years went by really quickly because I never reached the end of the contract. I would sign a new contract in the middle of a contract. So just it kind of overlaps and the contract never ends.
I saw it as an opportunity so that I could travel. And okay, one thing I would recommend or to anyone that decides to come to Harbin, and maybe if your goal is to travel, I would not come to Harbin. And the reason I say that is because we're so far north that it takes forever to get anywhere that you need to go. So if you want to teach and you need an opportunity to be able to travel some more, I would definitely suggest going south. Then you can access anywhere. The Philippines, anywhere else in China, Hong Kong, anywhere, Thailand even, but not North Korea and not Russia.
And I noticed that for one of the classes I had this semester, we're doing speech and debate, and another one of my courses, the course that I designed, the curriculum for, is the future of technology and governance. And both of these courses, I noticed this dichotomy. The students know that the university they're at is focused on language learning and that their major or their focus is international relations, but at the same time they realize that they're not learning so much about international relations as they are about language abilities and language learning. And then on the other side of it, you have this issue where the students know that they want to study something else, but because they're at a language university, they have to. So they try their best to learn things about a specific language, mostly English, and at the same time, it's detrimental to their future. The first being, if you speak English very well, you should be able to study any major you like. But on the other side of that, if you take English as your major, then you're kind of limiting yourself to what it is you can actually do and what kind of skills you're going to attain. I think the students don't realize that until it's too late.
I've had 3 jobs since being in China. My first, the one that brought me over, was an awful training school where I worked 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, one-to-one, where they just put the kid in and they close the door and say teach. I had no training, nothing. I did that for 1.5 years until me and the Chinese manager got into an argument, and then I left and I went to another training school that put me in, it was an agency that put me in a middle school, and I worked in the middle school. It was 1 teacher, myself, and 60 other students, and I taught 8 classes a day, 5 days a week, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then from doing that, I wanted to leave because I wanted to, at that time, I wanted to open a restaurant in China, an authentic American restaurant. So I wanted my workload to be less, and got into another argument with that owner after I wanted to leave, after I completed my contract, and I had to pay in order for them to relinquish my documents. So from that, then I came here. I started off as a teacher, and I've been here almost 3 years now, and I've moved up. Now I'm the regional trainer manager.
The most recent project I was working on is kind of a collaboration between the sales and the education staff, because the sales procedures, it involves like demos and stuff like that from teachers, but that's extra work for them, so you have to kind of find a medium between what's good for the sales, what kind of behaviors do they need from the teachers, but what's not too much to ask of them outside of their teaching hours and stuff like that. So basically that project just involved collecting some data, some quantitative stuff, numbers, how much each person gets in terms of a teacher doing a demo, like a person signing up for a contract. So numbers, and then some qualitative surveys talking to managers of different centers within Beijing. So it was mostly a Beijing focused project.
My students attend my school, which is an English school, after they go to their regular elementary school or wherever it may be. And what I do is my schedule is pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I enjoy working only 20 hours a week. Sometimes I work 2 hours a day. Sometimes 1 hour. You know. But then the only thing is I no longer have weekends because that's when the kids come to my school. So my weekends are always like, oh God. Everyone's like, I'm having so much fun on the weekend, and I'm like, I'm not. I'm teaching.
I teach first grade and third grade currently. I have taught first, third, fourth, seventh, and eighth grade in the space of 9 months. I'm definitely aware of what my preferences are now. I prefer the really young ones that are really full of life, fresh in their heads, and you can really do something with their enthusiasm and their open-mindedness. Or the older ones around 8th grade, 7th and 8th grade, I find that they want to explore the world, they want to know what's out there, I can relate to them because it's closer to my youth worker background, so that is where I'm most comfortable with. However, teaching-wise, I like the first grade because it's simple, but also it allows you a lot of freedom to be able to really work with them. You can see the growth and just the love they give you. That for me makes it worthwhile.
Well, a huge difference from an English classroom and a Chinese classroom is discipline. In an English classroom, it's straightforward. You have rules, you have rewards, you have consequences. Here, I'm pretty sure they have rules. I came in mid-semester, so I kind of missed that whole mark. But you know, they are very playful. You kind of tell them to stop. They'll stop for like maybe 1 or 2 seconds and then go right back to playing. Even I have Chinese assistants in the classroom, and they'll stand by them, but it's kind of like more so of a babying effect. You know, they'll like brush their hair or rub their back or stand right in front of them, acting like they're disciplining them, but they'll still have like a smile on their face. And I think it goes back into maybe the Chinese culture of raising a child, like, you know, with the one-child policy. Very spoiled.
The kids are cute though. Oh, one thing that I assumed when I came to China, was that all the kids were going to be really well behaved. Like, I thought they were well disciplined. Nope, that was a mistake. No.
Elaborate, por favor.
The kids are very much like North American kids, where they're wilding out. Always, just wilding out all the time. They're loud, running around. They're kids, is what they are. But they're not as disciplined as I assumed they would be.
They put all of their hopes and dreams, hey Thomas, all of their hopes and dreams into this one child. So when it comes to disciplining them or hurting their feelings, they really don't want to do that because they want to make the child feel good about themselves, or they want to make the child feel like they can really do it and really succeed. Because as parents, they're like, this is my one shot to have my child ultimately take care of us, the family, and then get back to China. Like, that's their whole goal. Whereas in America, you go to school, you get a job, you're pretty much taking care of you. But in China, the culture is giving back to the country, giving back to your family, keeping it all within your means and not really going over it. So yeah, the classroom is very, very different.
So basically, Real Educational Association or Real Educational Academic, depending on what my boss decides like it's sounding like. And it's supposed to be a school that slogan is that you can talk like a native. So it prides itself on being a school that can get you to talk like the people who live there.
A lot of the research I'm doing for my PhD has mostly been done from going to the villages and looking at the relationship between the small village communities and the bigger city communities, and seeing the disparities between the two, and how also you can look at the the transition of traditions and customs from the village life to the big city life. And I think it's really interesting to look at the migration patterns from the villages to the cities and back and forth, whether it's during the general school years and university calendars, or if you look at the way that students migrate back and forth on their holidays and weekends. And you can see the differences in how they look at the traditions and customs in comparison to students who either live in their hometowns or students who live very far away from their hometowns. I think over the next year or so, while I'm still here, I think it would be really interesting to check out villages in other provinces around this area, because I think every time I go to a village, I learn something profound about the Chinese society, and also not just the society, but the people themselves. And I think that's something that is impossible to learn from a book, but also impossible to learn from watching television. You kind of have to integrate yourself into the society and into the culture, into the village, and let the people accept you and let them remain in their natural state, so to speak, so you can engage with them in the way that they would engage with their local villagers. And by doing that, I think you can learn how to understand people in the only way that's possible, by being one with them.
When I was working in the public school, the good side was that I had a set schedule. It was Monday through Friday, 8 to 3. Saturday and Sunday, I was free. I didn't have anything to do. Could party, sleep, go on a weekend vacation. This was okay. Working in a training school, you're free mostly during the week, and then Saturday and Sunday are your main days. But you will work maybe like 9 hours within these 2 days, or 9 hours on Saturday, 9 hours on Sunday, depending on the schedule. Being in the public school taught me how to be more flexible. You have 60 kids in the class, so you must keep them, on task. You must reach your goal. But in the public school, in the training school, the classes are smaller, and you have more flexibility with the students. So I think, but for my journey, I felt that it was good for me to have both, because being in the public school, it taught me discipline. It taught me how to control a class. And now in the training school, it taught me how to play games. It taught me how to be more fun. And actually how to open myself up more and to give more to the students.
So in the beginning, I wasn't really sure what to expect, because I actually got hired to work in their children's school division, but I actually switched out immediately and I ended up working for their professional adult training center. So it's really different, because you do get the opportunity to network with their students. Like, they're adults, they're your age or maybe older than you, they're professionals who can actually give you advice while you're over there trying to teach them certain things. For me, I actually design courses for the company as well, so I get to do a little bit of like creativity, and but I do get to stick on the business side, because I have certain amount of hours allow for self-development. So that means I get to work on projects with headquarters in Beijing, or I get to maybe do our corporate side, so I'll be in the financial district working with managers of other companies.
And then you said you were trying to like switch jobs.
Yes, so the job I have now isn't exactly the best. I don't get paid on time, and honestly I think it's a sinking ship. He had some financial problems and still having those problems, and he talks big, but I'm not sure where he's going. So I don't want that uncertainty. So I'm trying to switch jobs. Of course, switching jobs in China when you haven't finished a contract, even when you have, is difficult. There's the whole regular, oh no, you have a contract, even though technically I haven't followed it, you have to follow it thing. Then there's the whole, oh, if you don't do this, I'll blacklist you. Then there's the whole, oh, but we need you, please don't leave, you're the best teacher, let's guilt trip you. So it's a bunch of things, and I'm just going, how about you Chinese talk to the other Chinese, and I've already said what I want, and you two figure it out.
So I work at Sichuan International Studies University. I teach international relations courses in economics in the SIR department and the international business department. And I'm also working with the Southwest International think tank for the strategic development for the Silk Road Economic Belt. And essentially it's the development of the One Belt, One Road strategy for China to build a train from China to Europe. And a lot of the work that I've been doing with these researchers so far pertains to looking at political and economic variables to see the sustainability of the relationship between China and these European countries and the other 60 plus countries involved.
One of the things that we try to, that I've been able to do from being in this position is to shatter the conception of what a black person is. Most Chinese, they feel that blacks, they play basketball, they listen to rap music, they have saggy pants, this is what they feel. And sometimes in this position, some schools, they will not hire a person just because they're black. They feel, oh, well, if he's black, the parents won't accept it. They don't want their child to be in this type of class. They feel that we are cheating them by not giving them a native speaker, by giving them an African as well. I mean, that's not from America. So in this position, by me being in this position, I've been working for this location for the past 3 years, or almost 3 years. They've seen me, they know my teaching quality, they know my professionalism, so it opens the door for other teachers who can come in and they're also professional and also do a great job. So the standard is much higher. And when I started, our location they didn't have a lot of black teachers, or if they did, they were mostly from Africa. And so now their eyesight has been opened that there are black Americans or black Europeans or from Ireland or wherever, other places. So that's one of the things I'm happy to be in this position, so that I can help open their eyes, say, okay, yes, this candidate is black, but let's move past that and let's see what their qualifications are.
You can survive, you can get by without speaking the language, but you don't need to speak it. I personally feel like it's important for you to speak and to know at least how to talk to people, but you can survive. My first year here, I survived without speaking anything. So
I knew shit, but that's because I turned it into shit, But then I quickly learned that it's not shit, it's shit, And I'm probably still saying it wrong, which kind of sucks.
yeah, you can definitely survive. You can go to the store and go get some food, and come back to the crib and go to sleep, teach, do it all over again. You could definitely survive.
I feel like black people, we carry a lot of baggage. We carry a lot from, I'm just talking from where I know where I'm coming from back home. There's always a lot that we've got on our shoulders, And it gets to a point where I got to a point for me where I was just like, you know what, I'm so sick of this environment. Not because anyone had done something to me or because I was going through any particular hardship, but because I was so ready to move forward. And you can only go so far when people have only gone so, with the people around you have only gone so far, if you get what I mean. So when you've kind of outgrown the mold that you were brought up in, you're then left not fitting in the mold, but having to find another mold to fit in. So I'm not saying being in Shenzhen or being in China that's the mold I'm supposed to be in, but it's doing the job for the moment.
He's my go-to person. If I have any type of question, not even necessarily about China, it could be about my apartment, I can easily just go to David. And I gravitate to him not necessarily because he's black, but because, we come from the same type of background, both from America, Southern living. So it's kind of easier to relate. And, having a male point of view on some things is also better too, because I also work with a lot of females. So a lot of times when I have questions about things, they kind of talk in a roundabout kind of way where I can just ask David and he'll give me what I need and then it's done with. So it definitely makes me feel a lot more comfortable having David. And then he speaks Chinese. So, me on the other hand, where I only know about 2-3 words, I can just ask David and he'll get me through a conversation.
The biggest thing is that you have to give it time. Because I actually studied Chinese history and Chinese culture before in college, and I was still ready to come to China. But honestly, the first like 6 months, I really didn't like, I enjoyed China, but I can't say that I liked China. I enjoyed, the convenience of things. I enjoyed that people were friendly. I enjoyed that I can get things done quickly. Well, some things, not money. Money takes forever to get out of the country. But banking's really the only thing that's quite slow here. Everything else is cool, but you really have to give it time and let yourself adjust, because I did not like it the first year. Like I said, I just enjoyed it. But I came back after the first year. I don't know why, but I did. And my second year's been great. It's been wonderful. I almost don't want to come back to America.
No pushing. No pushing. Good children. No talking. Very good, Ari. No talking. No talking. And up. Good. Hands up. Hands up. No Chinese. Well done, Ella. No Chinese. No Chinese. Teresa. No Chinese. 不用说普通话. No